T. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to A Woman's Heart, where we uplift, motivate, encourage, and empower women. Trying to adjust some things right now. Um, as you all can see, I titled this "Thinking of Others More Than We Think of Ourselves," and the reason I said that is because right now we are living in tough times for some. We're dealing with a different strain of COVID, and it's taking some people out. It's making a lot of people sick. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine this morning. As we know, during COVID, we were shut down for a long time. And so during that time, the government decided to give those individuals who are unemployed an extra $300. And now we're trying to get back to the norm. But what is happening now is a lot of people are being evicted. There are some, I got a message from my friend this morning that, she pays her rent and everything. And she said she had a note on her door that said that they was going up $200 on her rent. And then another piece of paper behind that one that said that she would have to move by January 2022. So when you sit around the house and you don't realize how blessed you are, just think about what other people are going through. Just let that marinate a little bit, because we can complain about the smallest of things. And when I say think of others, I want us to learn how to appreciate people. It is so important, because we look and we think that we don't have it good. We think our life is not the best, and it may not be the best. But compared to somebody else's life who don't have nowhere near what you have. And that alone will make you grateful for what you do have. So, and when I say think about others, I'm saying in the content of to help us to be more appreciative, to help us to be more grateful for the things we have. You may complain about the rent you pay. You may complain about the car you drive, but there is somebody who's homeless, who's living up under a viaduct, who's sleeping in their car, and who's living outside a cardboard box. There is somebody who don't know where their next meal is coming from. And so if we learn how to think about other people, then we won't complain so much about what we're sitting, standing, or walking in. That will help us to keep our perspective. That will help us to be grateful. And that definitely will help us to be very much so appreciative of what we have. When you can open your refrigerator door and you can stand there for about a good 2 minutes, contemplating what you think you might want to eat out of that refrigerator. And then as your eyes wander through the refrigerator and you realize what you're looking at is not quite what you want, then you go to the table, you go to your purse, or you go to that key rack that's hanging on the wall. You get your purse, your wallet, and your keys, and you unlock your car and you drive to the restaurant that you feel like that's where you're going to get your meal from. Well, think about that woman, think about that mother, think about that wife who lives in the house, but because she is unemployed, because her savings has been eaten up because of COVID, she opened her refrigerator door and she looking over to the other side of her, and there's 3 miles that she need to feed. But as she looked inside the refrigerator, there is nothing but a loaf of bread, maybe a couple pieces of lunch meat, and a half a gallon of juice. Now she's wondering what is she's going to do to feed her kids. And when we open up our refrigerator door and we got lunch meat, we got milk, we got pop, we got juice, we have water, we have eggs, we have bacon, we have sausage, everything we need to satisfy our hunger. But the woman who don't have nowhere near what you have is thinking to herself, I got my babies to feed. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? There's nobody she can call to loan her a couple of dollars where she can buy some groceries. And then if she was able to call somebody, who would pick up the phone knowing what her situation was? Would you pick up the phone? If that woman called you, that mother, that wife called you and said, can I get $20 from you? I need to feed my kids. We don't have no food. Would you put your selfish pride down and would you look beyond who you are and think about somebody else? Or how about this? What if you was close to the same situation but didn't have no kids, and say that she asked you for $20 and that was your last $20 and you wanted to buy yourself something to eat? Are you able? Is your heart that good that you can take your last $20 and split it with somebody to help them feed their family? Are you able to do that? Are you able to do that? So when I'm saying that we complain so much and we are not as appreciative as we should be for what we have, we're not. And for us to look at others, and even some of us said when, the government mentioned they was going to take away the extra $300. Well, they don't want to work. Well, you can't lump everybody in the bucket. You have to think of others more than you think of yourself. Put yourself in those shoes. Say you had a household. Say you had kids to feed. That extra $300 really is no money. Because if you paid $1,500 for rent, you was only getting $1,100. You already upside down anyway. So we're so quick to jump to conclusion without thinking about the other person. And that's what I'm trying to get us to understand. We have to think about the other person and understand where they're coming from. Now, in factual, and you want to be truthful, yeah, there are some people who don't want to work. But that was way before COVID hit. We know that. And it didn't have nothing to do with no extra $300. There are people who's been living off public assistance all their life. They've been living it so long, they don't even have no Social Security benefits stored up. That's how long they've been living on it. So before we part our lips to make statements, to make comments, we should think about other people. How about you stand on the other side of the street and try picturing yourself standing in their shoes? Just like I said, that mother who opened the refrigerator door and there's a loaf of bread, 2 slices of meat, and a half a gallon of juice, and she got 3 babies to feed. Now, do she got to pay rent? She got a car note, and she got them babies to feed. And she don't have no extra money coming in. So she picks up the phone. I'm going to reiterate this again. And she calls you and says, can I get $20? I just want to feed my babies. You don't have to worry about me. I just need $20 to feed my babies just for the night. And anything I have left over, I'll try to make it stretch. Can you think of somebody else more than you think of yourself in that situation? Can you? Because that's what we need to do in this country. We need to start to think of others more than we think of ourselves. Some of us have been so privileged all our lives. Silver spoon, gold spoon, however you want to call it. And we don't understand the value of nothing. They've never had to work for anything. Hence why when hard times come along, some of them commit suicide because they can't stand the pressures of life. So when you're sitting down and somebody make a comment, somebody tell you something, think about them instead of thinking about yourself. Look around your household and your environment and see if God has truly been good to you. And I'm going to tell you, he has, whether you want to admit it or not. If you are on this stream and you can see me and you can hear me talking, you are blessed. You know why I say that? Because your eyes work. They may not be 50-50. They may be 50-40, 50-30, 50-20, but they work. You can see. If you can hear me talk, then I know you're blessed. That means your ears are working. You can hear. Do that make sense? So we look at things, we sit in our house, we complain, I can't pay this bill, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't, it's just too much. And it probably is too much. But think about this. You got hot water. Somebody don't have hot water. You have a bed to sleep in. Somebody sleeping outside or sleeping in their car or have to go to a shelter. You have a roof over your head. It may not be the comforts that you like, but it's yours. So think about it. Your life is not as bad as you make it to be. It's not. When you look and you compare to those who don't have and those who living outside in conditions, and some mothers are living outside with their kids because they don't have no choice. So if we look at other people, maybe we can learn how to be a little more appreciative of things that we have. Maybe we can learn how to be a little more grateful, because some of us live beyond our means anyway. Way beyond, trying to keep up with people that we're trying to impress that don't even like us that well. And I don't know why we put all our energy into trying to impress people that don't even like us that much. No way. Your life is your life. And you are the controller of what you do and how you make it. Mistakes happen. They do. Life is a lesson lived and learned. But if you don't never learn the lesson, you can't live a better life. Bottom line. And we're so quick. We're so quick, so quick. And everybody's guilty, including myself. We're so quick to complain about the small things. And maybe that's why some of us haven't been blessed like we want to be, because we are not appreciative of what we have. You know, greed is real. And some people are very greedy. We're selfish. We don't want to help nobody. We don't have a good encouraging word to say to anyone whatsoever. And sometimes our words are, you better get yours like I got mine. We don't want to help nobody. But if you sit down and think about it, somebody had to help you. Somebody gave you some type of advice. Somebody shared some information with you to get you where you are. So how can we become such selfish individuals? Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. Every woman has experienced something. May not be to the extent that you experience it, but we've all experienced something. But we want to share. We don't want to help nobody. We don't want to encourage nobody. And it's all about us, that them three little people that gets in our way every time. And you know who those three little people are? Me, myself, and I. We don't think about nobody else. And the statements that we make about other people, what if God made those statements to us? What if our next breath was contingent on what we said about somebody or how we treated somebody? What if our next breath was contingent upon that? And if you didn't use the right words, what if he said, okay, since you don't know how to think of nobody else and you want to be selfish, well, let me show you and remove you from this earth. How would you feel? Would you feel like he had wronged you? Would you? See, it's okay for us to do things to other people. But a lot of us who do those things to other people don't want those things done to us. So we need to treat people like we want to be treated. If I want somebody to respect me, then I need to respect other people. See, because I'm the controller of me. I'm not the controller of anybody else. I can only control Renee. That's it. Some of us spend our time trying to control other people, trying to tell them what they should do, how they should dress, how they should walk, how they should talk. That's not how this works. It's not how this works. So we should self-reflect. That's what we should do. We should self-reflect. And before we sit down and complain about what we don't have, and before we become too greedy, we should think of others. Could you survive living outside up under a bridge? Could you survive eating out of a garbage can? Could you survive not taking a bath or a shower? Could you survive that? Could you survive it? Because when we look at those individuals, we have plenty to say. So much to say. Now, let's be honest. Let's be realistic. Some of those individuals out there are out there scamming. Let's be truthful. But there's a lot of individuals out there because life have not treated them kind. Period. And when you don't have the financial means, and when you don't have support, and when people feel like you got what you deserve without knowing the whole truth and nothing but the truth, because we look on the outside, we think we know, we don't really know what people go through. We don't know that. We don't know that. We have become such a selfish society. So selfish. We don't think about nobody else but ourselves. We're not sharing nothing with nobody. We're not giving nobody nothing. And we definitely not helping anybody with anything. If somebody mentioned to you to help them with something, it's like they have come along to snatch your last breath from your body. How dare them to come ask me for anything? Who do they think they are? But God bless you every day, even in your stupidity. And he have more reasons than the people, your family, your friends, and your coworkers do to snatch your life from you. But he's got grace and mercy for us, and we don't have no mercy for nobody else. None. And we don't think about those things. We just complain, we complain, we complain, we complain. And then when somebody posts, can you help? Can you donate? Nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to donate. But you know the tables can turn, right? Do you know the tables can turn? All it takes is a spark and you could lose everything. Just one spark and poof, just like you have it, it can be gone. These are some things we should think about. We should really, really think about. You don't know why people do what they do. We don't know nobody's story. We don't. We don't know their struggles. We don't know their hardships. We don't know their heartaches. We don't know none of that. We just don't know. So because you have a nice house, because you survived a broken relationship or a broken marriage, because you recovered and got another job, everybody is not you. So we can't box people into the box that is our box to sit in. Your road is your road and my road is my road. Don't mean that I don't have the strength, don't mean I don't have the know-how, and it don't mean I don't have the want to be better. Circumstances and situation causes things not to work out the way we think they should work out. Period. Let's be honest. So again, all I'm saying is think of others more than you think of yourself. You know, God said it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. And some of us are walking around with our fists so tight, even the air can't get through. Now, you don't want to do nothing for nobody else, but you want God to bless you. This day, you want him to bless you. But we're so selfish. We don't think about nobody else. We can't help nobody without charging them. Me and my friend was talking today, and she's looking for some programming for the seniors. And so she called one of the young ladies to ask her, did she have anybody that she knew that could assist with the program? And the first thing she said, girl, yeah, I can help you, but we got to get paid. Now, don't get me wrong. Money is good. It is. But it's only good for paying the bills. The bills. If you have money, it can't feed you. It can't drag you to the hospital. It won't sit on the side of the bed and ask you how you're feeling today. It won't do none of that. Money ain't finna take your temperature. It may be okay. It may help to buy a thermometer so you can take your own temperature, but money's not going to take your temperature. It's not. And did you ever think about if you done something from your heart that God would make sure that you would get everything that you needed? He'll make sure you get it. But again, we only think of ourselves. We don't never think of nobody else. And now that we've been in COVID, and now that virtual and social media has become a popular outlet, it has been so overwhelming that people are just going to various social media outlets. Some are pretending to have businesses, and people are getting had because they're not thinking of nobody but themselves. They're not thinking about that you're going to put this person in hardship. They're not thinking about that person is trusting that this is a legitimate business, and it's not. They're not thinking about that. They are thinking about themselves. That's it, and that's all. Nobody else. And so you pay your money for whatever merchandise they're selling, and you never see it. It never comes because they don't have the merchandise. Bottom line. That's being selfish. When you as an individual only think of yourself, you're being selfish. Very much so. And that's something that we need to think about. That's something we need to work on. Let's learn how to give a little more. You never know. And nobody should have to ask you. If you know there is somebody out here that have a need, then try to be helpful and meet that need. I don't have a lot. I don't. But I do think that I have a giving heart. I believe that with everything within me. I think I have a giving heart. And sometimes people try to take that giving heart for granted. As they say, take your kindness for weakness. But then again, I had to learn over the years, it's not about me. It's not about me. What God tells us to do is what we should do. And He tells us to help. We should have compassion for one another. And I don't think we have no compassion for each other like we should. Somewhere along the line, we became some real selfish individuals. That's all we think about. And we hoard money and we keep money. And then we forget that if you checked out today, somebody else is going to spend it for you. You can't take it with you. You can't take it with you. And I've said this over and over again, and I want you all to let this resonate in your spirit. COVID-19 has a purpose. This is a God thing. Understand me when I say everybody has a mirror that they need to look into. Everybody has a mirror. No one person on any social media outlet, on any TV station who act or actress in any movie has been perfect all their life. We all have flaws. We all have flaws. But when you figure that you done something wrong, change the course. And if you learn something along the way that you can help somebody else, then do just that. Help somebody else. It used to be a community. Now, as I said earlier, it's me, myself, and I. Those three individuals. That is selfish. We are only thinking about ourselves and nobody else. If we as women are going to get better, we're going to have to stick together. We're going to have to help each other. We're going to have to be encouraging to one another. We're going to have to be motivation to each other. We're going to have to be inspiration to one another. And we're going to have to learn how to listen to each other. And that's the most important part, because we talk at people. We don't talk to people. And that's the difference. Stop talking at people and talk to people. You don't have no right to look down your nose at anybody. You don't have your right to do that. The only difference between me and somebody else who's been exposed, I wasn't exposed. That's the only difference. But let me tell you something. Whether you was exposed or not, God knows. And we need to stop playing with him. And we need to stop testing and trying him. Because a lot of y'all are going through the things that you're going through because you're not doing what you need to do. I'm just saying. And I hope that we learn that when we see women, if they're struggling, if we can help. And if we can't help, then say a silent prayer for them. See, I'm a helper. If somebody come to me and say they have a need, if I can help, I'm going to help. That's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not saying I'm patting myself on the back, but I'm going to do everything I need to do to help somebody else, because one day it could be me. And just like I've been gracious to somebody else, I want God to be gracious to me. Understand me when I say. So ladies, let's stop being so selfish. Let's start thinking of others more than we think of ourselves. And let's teach our kids that too. Let's teach them that. Let's teach them to be respectful. Let's teach them to have compassion and understanding. You don't know the story. When you see people that's homeless on the street, did you not know there are doctors, there are nurses, there are people from prominent background that lives up under the viaduct? You think it's just a regular mother and a regular father? No, it's not. There are some prominent people who lives up under the viaduct. Prominent people. Please understand me. We look at the outside and we have no idea of the construction that's going on the inside. Every building starts with a foundation. Now, a foundation can be a good foundation. It can be a shaky foundation, or it can be a strong foundation. But it starts with a foundation. And everybody don't get started with a foundation. So you have to know that. There's so many things going on in this world that we can change. But we have to stop being selfish, and we have to think of others. If there's women out here that's being battered and abused, then a couple of women who've experienced that and escaped that environment, get together and be something for the women who still fighting that, because you know what it's like. If there's some women out here who struggle with mental illness, get together to help somebody else with mental illness. You know why? Because you know what it's like. If there's women out here who's been alcoholics and you got past being an alcoholic, then get together with other women so you can help other women to recover from being an alcoholic, because you know what it's like. If there's women out here who's been drug addicts and you're in recovery, and you know what it's like being a drug addict, find other women that need your help. If we band together, if we stick together, if we walk together, if we talk together, we can make a great impact. But we got to do it together. You can't depend on one person to do it. It's everybody's fight, not just mine and not just a few out here that's fighting. And a lot of women get caught up, not by choice. We think they knew, but some women don't know. Love is blinding. And some women do a lot of crazy things because they love somebody. So that's all I'm saying, ladies. Let's think of others more than we think of ourselves. There are women out here who are struggling with their children, trying to help raise them. You got next door neighbors that's struggling, and we won't take a cup of sugar, a bowl of beans, or nothing over there. You ain't got to ask them why. Just take them and say, I was thinking about you. Here you go. And keep it moving. You don't require uh, an answer for why people going through what they're going through unless they want to share. But I'm going to say this. If you're not going to do what you're doing genuinely from your heart, then don't do it. Because God knows who's going to do what they do genuinely from their heart. Okay? So I hope this conversation has resonated deep down within. And I hope it caused you to sit down and contemplate on some things. And I pray that it help us to become our better best self, and help us to be better and do better. Because you have it all together don't mean the next woman does. Because you recover from a broken relationship don't mean the next woman have. We can dress up the outside and the inside is up under demolition. So let us think of others more than we think of ourselves. And before we part our lips to judge the next individual, think about it. You don't know her story. You don't know her story. And I'm going to leave you with this. Sunday, I went to a service. And the young lady that I've been knowing for 20 plus years, when she first came to Chicago, she was kind of distant. But people thought she had an attitude problem. But they didn't know what she was struggling with. They didn't know that she had attempted suicide. They didn't know that her relative was giving her a hard time. The love that she was seeking, she didn't get. Which I say all the time, everybody got a story. You don't know what that story is. We judge from what we think we judge from what we see and what we think we know when we don't know. And what we see is not actually what we see. And we draw a conclusion to that. So stop painting a picture of people when you don't have no idea of what's happening on the back end. You don't know anybody's backstory. All right? Again, think of others more than we think of ourselves. I hope you find some institutions to get involved in. I hope we can come together as a village. And I hope that we get out this negative aspect of one another. We see it on TV. That's too much for me. It's too much for me. We are better than that. And I know we are better than that. Let's learn how to stick together. Let's learn how to love one another. Let's learn how to be supportive of one another. And let's learn how to motivate each other and encourage each other to keep pushing along. We can do this. That's thinking more of ourselves and thinking of somebody else. All right? Again, make sure you follow us on all our social media outlets. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. I did a TikTok. YouTube. Subscribe to toawomansheart.org. That is the social media outlet for women. Let's get it together, ladies. Let's stick together. Let's talk. Let's conversate. Let's bond. Let's build. Let's be great in the seat that we sit in the seat that we walk in the shoes that we stand in. You can do it. All right. Until we talk again, y'all take care.